Rolling and action.
Okay, genre and archetype. Spider-Man 2 is categorized as an action sci-fi adventure film that revolves around the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who is almost always fighting crime in New York City. The archetype for Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, is the hero, in which he demonstrates courage, honor, and strength throughout the film. He is the protagonist, which is pretty obvious. The target audience for this film is for anyone 13 and over. I personally put like my own thing. I think this is like to prevent children from being scared to see like Doc Ock, because when I was young and I saw this, it like scared me completely. Our expectations are met in the superhero film because Spider-Man saves the day in the end while also realizing his own self-worth and his purpose for being Spider-Man. Perspective. We are viewing the scene in a third-person point of view during the majority of the scene, which helps establish the setting and situation Spider-Man is dealing with at the moment. We are also given a first-person point of view in which we are viewing what Spider-Man views as he is desperately trying to save the passengers. Once he saves them, we are given another point of view shot from the bottom. Okay, narrative. This scene not only represents Spider-Man's importance to the civilians in New York City, but represents his vulnerability in this moment where it is revealed that he is just a kid and didn't really ask to be thrown into this situation. This decision to unmask Spider-Man changes the impact of the scene. Many superheroes, like Batman, for example, have the lower half of their face unobscured, while Spider-Man is fully masked to hide his identity. We rely on his witty comedic remarks rather than his expressions and interactions to truly understand his thoughts, hence why he is very humorous both in comic and film. Seeing Spider-Man without his mask instantly humanizes him, reminding the audience that he is just a man in a mask while also leaving him completely vulnerable. Stan Lee also made like a message that's kind of referencing Into the Spider-Verse as well, that anyone can wear the mask, so you wouldn't know what he looks like or what gender, what anything, because he's fully covered. And that was why he enjoyed Spider-Man. Cinematography. During this scene, we are presented with many different shots, such as over the shoulder, establishing shots, medium shots. I want to say the first one is a medium wide shot up here, but I don't think that's right. Close-ups and point of view shots. Okay, this is the mise-en-scène analysis.
Sure.
Oh crap. The R-Train is the dominant in this scene, given its massive size compared to Spider-Man. It controls the scene entirely. However, Spider-Man is the dominant when it comes to color, being the one subject that pops out the most. Although the colors are muted, he is the most obvious in the center. The many verticals in this shot trap Spider-Man, given that he uses his webs to stop the train, further limiting his movement and is entering in an area that is restricted, hence the brakes, which I don't really think those are brakes, but yeah, at the end of the tracks. And these are all the verticals in, so yeah. This shot is a full shot because we see all of Spider-Man's body with the setting close in the background. There is shallow depth. I don't think this is completely accurate, but there is a shallow depth of field with a shallow composition, given that the train and Spider-Man are the main subjects in focus. I don't know if that's correct because this was during the video and it's kind of blurry.
I know. I actually agree with you. I mean, I think that it's blurry because of the way it's moving. I think everything you wrote here is correct. It doesn't matter if we were in like the middle of the desert. What matters is that there's a train and it's out of control, and Spider-Man's in the same plane as it. So you nailed it. You really did.
The lighting in this shot is high-key with soft lighting, given that there aren't many shadows, which means that there is a low contrast. The colors are also muted, making many of the what would be vibrant objects a little more dull. Like I assume that this would be a little brighter yellow, although it may be like dirty, so that's why it's also like that. Yeah. Okay. Editing and pacing. The pacing is fast in the scene, creating a sense of suspense to the audience, given that Spider-Man has limited time before the train goes off the tracks. This pacing, plus Spider-Man's facial expressions, established a rush of adrenaline he feels and the passengers are feeling in this moment. There are many fast cuts and some longer ones, such as the train view overhead. The pacing then slows down as the train comes to a halt and as the passengers get Spider-Man safely inside the train car, making sure to gently place him on the ground. Okay, there is not dialogue and performance. There is not much dialogue, except for Toby yelling in complete agony, so that's pretty much something. The majority of the dialogue is spoken by the passengers on the train, one of which is the conductor who gives Spider-Man a sarcastic remark. This dialogue creates a sense of confusion and wonder during the end, when the passengers realize Spider-Man is just a kid in a mask. Something memorable that is not really positive about the dialogue is the kid that says, "We won't tell nobody," because that's a double negative, so technically he will tell everyone. Yeah, Peter's just clueless, doesn't even realize it. As for Maguire's performance, I believe his facial expressions were very amusing as he was yelling. He executed the scene of the sense of panic, however, towards the beginning, as his eyes were shifting a lot and his voice cracked when he says, "I got a few," yeah, it's great. It's a great way to indicate that he's nervous, even if it was accidental, and like, that just happened. Questions? Shameless plug. Watch Spider-Man.
It's excellent, yeah. It's the best Spider-Man movie, I would say.
Yes, it is.
Any questions, comments, etc.? Yeah, I noticed Tommy and Jai cracking up a little bit at the Tobey Maguire facial expressions.
Listen, I was too. I can't take it seriously.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Like, you think that was an intentional?
He's very expressive. Like, I don't know. He's just hilarious. I think it was to like show, I guess, the straining, because he had to literally hold the train with the webs and stuff. So.
Just a quick note about the director. You know, if you ever, I mean, he also made the Evil Dead films, Army of Darkness. He's in a lot of his films. He really demands, especially Bruce Campbell, who's kind of his muse and is in all three of these original Spider-Man films. He loves making his lead actors make hilariously pained faces. It's meant to be comedic. He's very, very into doing that, probably to break the tension, so little kids like yourself in 2004 would indeed not be too scared. Right? So I think that was definitely intentional there. But your mise-en-scène analysis was really great. You picked an amazing still and you analyzed the hell out of it. I really appreciate the lines you put in there. Just a great presentation. Thank you. All right.